Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a sea turtle. So let's do it. Okay, so to start, I'm just going to go through my materials. I have my Arches watercolor paper here. I have my Winsor Newton Cotman watercolors. I have my Princeton snap brushes. I have a size 10, a size 2, and a size 6 on hand. I have my paper towel, my water, and I also have a watercolor pencil that I'm going to use to outline. I used to use regular pencil, but then someone mentioned to me instead of having to erase lines, if you use a watercolor one, it will just kind of absorb with the water and blend into the watercolor, and that's what I've been doing now. So thanks for that suggestion. So we're gonna be doing a sea turtle. And like I said with my whale video, when I do animals, I tend to look up a reference photo, so an actual photograph of the animal, not a painting. So I found this photo of a sea turtle on Pinterest, and I'm gonna use that as my reference photo. So you can use kind of whatever photo you like. If you're not great at freehand drawings, you know, if you're just painting this for yourself, you could always trace it. I don't really think there's a problem with that, especially if it's a photograph. But yeah, so I'm gonna be trying to freehand draw this. So let's see how this goes. I'm not the best with drawing animals, but I'm getting better as I practice, so I'm gonna keep trying. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with the shell. So it's the biggest part, and it's kind of like the middle of the body, so I can kind of judge where to go from thereafter. I think the toughest thing about drawing is, especially like animals and people, is trying to get everything in proportion. It's very easy to have a head that's way too big, or legs that are not long enough, or, you know, all that fun stuff. Hopefully I have enough room on here. Okay. Off to a great start. Did I say start? I don't know. Okay, it's been a long day, my friends. A long day. And I mentioned on my Instagram this week, I've had a bit of a tough week. I've been super unmotivated. So when people say, how do you stay motivated? You know what? It's very difficult. I'm not motivated at all, but yet here I am. You know what? The good feedback is what keeps me going. If you guys didn't like these tutorials, I wouldn't do them, and then I wouldn't have to be motivated. But because people are so kind and are enjoying these tutorials, I feel like I have to keep going, and I enjoy it. So okay, so here's the fin. I'm sorry I'm not really explaining how I'm drawing this. I feel like I'm kind of just figuring it out as I go. I just kind of try and look at the length of certain things. And I do usually erase a lot. Okay, this might be longer actually. Or a different shape altogether. I don't know. Man, animals are hard. Okay. They're just difficult. Okay, like that. And then the back fin. Okay, now I'm just gonna go back in and erase with this professional eraser. Not. It's the only eraser that doesn't leave marks that I have right now. I also have little watercolor spots on this paper. I'm off to a great start, guys. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, and I'm just gonna kind of draw where the mouth is and where the eye is. All these turtles look so sad. Okay, eye, like that. Okay, so there is my outline. And now I'm going to start painting. I wish I kind of shifted this whole thing over that way a little bit, but what can you do? Let's just give it a try. I might cut it out later anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the body. So first I'm gonna do a light wash. I'm gonna grab my bigger brush just so I can cover more ground. So a light wash of this green. I'm just using leftover sap green. And as I color over parts of the watercolor pencil, it should disappear a little bit. If it doesn't, that's okay too. I'm gonna do yellows and greens and blues. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. Sorry, I'm just talking out loud. Trying to figure out what I want to do here and how I want to go about this. You would think I'd plan ahead before I film a tutorial, but that's apparently not how I work. So the background's going to be a light green. I might actually just kind of drop some color in there. Maybe some yellow. The underbelly here. I'm just gonna move my palette up here. And I'm going to do this foot back here. Okay. And then, so I'm going to be doing this in layers. So this is the first layer, because I'm going to be doing the detail on top after. Now I'm going to do a layer on the shell. I'm going to go for this bright kind of green. I really hope this turns out the way I'm thinking it will, but it totally might not. Okay. Okay, so this is my first layer. Now I'm going to let this completely dry before I move on to the second layer, okay? Okay, so originally shooting this video, it became pretty long, 20 plus minutes, so I'm going to spare you that long, drawn out, boring painting part and speed up this video, and I'm just going to do a voiceover giving you the details of what I was doing. So for the shell, I decided I'm going to do some blues and greens, so I'm just taking the colors and I'm mixing them on my palette. You can choose any colors you like, it does not have to be the same. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to section off different parts of the shell. So I'm going to start with one section at a time, because what I'm doing is I'm filling it in with a light wash. So make sure it's still wet. Not the first layer, the section that you're doing now. Make sure it's wet. And you're just going to drop some color in there. So I started with a light wash, and then I'm dropping some darker blues and greens in there, creating some lines for some nice color bleeds. And it kind of gives it some cool texture. I'm also going to throw some brown in there, a little bit of neutral colors to go with the bright colors. And then I'm going to do the next section. So I'm going to make a little line right beside that section, so there's a little white line in between sections. And do the same thing, filling it in with a light wash, and then you're going to drop some more color in. Add your next section. And this is really where the reference photo comes in handy. So if you look up a reference photo on Pinterest or Google, you can see where those sections on the shell are placed and paint accordingly. So as you see, the sections on top are decently big, so I'm doing one at a time. But once I get down to the part that is kind of along the edge, the bottom edge of the shell, you can do a couple at a time, just like that, and then drop the color in, just because it won't dry as fast because they're smaller. I did the big sections one by one just because I want to make sure when I drop in that color it's still wet. But you can do a couple sections at the bottom at a time. Okay, so now I'm just going to jump ahead to the next part of the turtle, finishing this shell. Okay, now that my shell is done, I'm going to mix some colors for the body. I'm going to be using some greens and yellows. So for the fins, I'm going to be doing kind of the same technique that I did on the shell, just smaller areas. So towards the back of the fin, looking at my reference photo, the little sections are a bit bigger. And then towards the middle of the fin, they get smaller. And again, I'm just starting with a light wash of green, and then I'm going to drop in some more color, maybe some yellows, some browns, whatever you think looks good. Okay, so now that the front fin is done, I'm just going to do the one in the background. Now this one is a bit more out of focus, so I'm going to do a wet on wet technique by just wetting the area and then dropping some color in there. I don't need any sharp little sections like the front one because it is behind and it would be out of focus. Now I'm just going to add some lines to the neck. Again, dropping some color in there, yellow, maybe some green or blue. And you'll notice as it starts to dry, maybe you might want to go and add some more color to the fin or whatever you prefer. And then you're just going to continue to do that little pattern on the head too that we did on the fin. Dropping some color in there. They kind of remind me of little puzzle pieces. So just make sure you leave those little lines in between each little section. Okay, now just jumping ahead, the face is done, and now we're just going to add a bit more color to that under part on the belly. And we're going to do the same thing to the back foot. So this original painting actually took about 25 minutes in real time. So if it takes you a while, don't get discouraged. It took me a while, but I didn't want to bore you with watching me make these tiny little sections over and over again in real time. So after the back foot is done, I'm just going to take a little bit of brown and I'm just going to outline part of the neck and the face, and I'm just going to add the mouth with a darker brown and black, outline the eye with black and fill it in completely. And also around the eye, the turtle kind of has these like eyelids. And just sharpening up some of the edges. You don't have to do that part, but if you want to, go for it. And there you go. There is your sea turtle. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram for more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.